All right, so I have a bunch of photos from my knolling project where you picked a grouping of items or a single item and deconstructed it, and you knolled them, putting them at 90-degree angles. So then I went to File, Open. I made sure I had a folder with all my pictures. I put it under Documents, and I selected a bunch of them. I did a bunch of different layouts and tried different lighting, so I selected the few that I liked the best. Due to photographing this on my smartphone, there is some distortion here, which is tricky to fix. We'll try to straighten out the image a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. And then what I'm looking at is I am seeing that in this particular image, it's blown out here, so I'm going to skip that one. This one I use a diffusion panel, so it has much more even tones, so I might work on this one. And if you just look at the histogram, you'll see the difference. So here I'm getting clipping again in that highlights area where it's super bright on that white camera. And here's underexposed. So what I'm seeing is all my values are over. This camera that's actually white is now gray. But because it's a JPEG, at least I don't have clipping in that area, but I do have clipping in the shadow. So we could experiment with that one too. But looking at the history, I'm seeing where your values are and seeing which is the best exposure. This one does not have really clipping, maybe just in the shadows, but it's the best one for this white camera here. So then what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna start by retouching actually. So I'll go here, I'm gonna do duplicate layer, double click on the name, call it retouch as I do. Make sure you're selected on that top layer, and then you're going to go to your healing brush. Now, some of these cameras are a little dinged up. Maybe I'll leave some of that, but I do have some like weird stuff on this one Polaroid, so I'm going to Command or Control plus spacebar, and I can pan. And then I'm going to just try to get rid of some of this. So I'm going to right click, make my brush a little bit bigger. Looks good. I'm just going to start retouching some of this. It is a little slow, so just give it some time. This one in the corner might be a little tricky. Let's see what happens. Oh, it's actually not too bad. And it's hard to see. There we go. Just see what happens there. I don't know if I made that better or worse. If you're not sure if you're improving or what your camera, you can always, or your camera, your picture, you can always do a before and after. So I like to do that often. Clean that one up. And then what I'm going to suggest is you just basically go through your picture and just see if there's anything you can clean up. So here's some spots here. Maybe we want to keep it kind of worn, but maybe some stuff is just like fingerprints. So you can go through there and just make sure you're not getting any of those repeating patterns that show up. Maybe just downplay that a little bit. There we go. See, that one looks really similar to that one, so you try to getting repeating patterns here. All right. So after you do that, Command 0, imagine I went through the whole picture and just kind of cleaned it up. I need to do some adjustment layers. So I'm going to do Layer, New Adjustment Layer. I'm going to go to Curves, and I'm going to try to add a little bit of brightness and contrast to the picture. So I like to put 2 points. I might brighten the shadows a little bit. I can bring down the highlights, or let's, oops, whoa, hey-oh. Let's try that again. Let's bring up the highlights a little bit. And then I'm gonna bring down the shadows. That'll give it a little punch of contrast. If you want it to have a little bit more contrast to it. And then I can hide this, and I could also add other adjustment layers. So I might actually warm it up or play with my colors or photo filters to create a specific look. So that is our basics, levels, retouching,